For those living in interface areas and people continuing to live with the impact of trauma in any society, I think we need, as clinicians and as musicians and scientists, to be very, very aware, but that we need to deal very sensitively with what the issues are that the clients that we're meeting as well present with. While addressing these issues at an early stage is really, really vitally important, we at the Northern Ireland Music Therapy Trust are very much minded that if these things aren't dealt with early, they can then go on to develop quite significant mental health problems as they age. And we currently are running the Music and Mind study. It's a randomised control trial. I know someone was asking earlier, are you using any psychological measurements for music therapy? We are actually in this, where the primary outcome is around increased communication, secondary outcomes around self-esteem, self-confidence. And this has been funded by Big Lottery. It was us, we won the lottery one day. And songwriting has really been an integral part of the intervention with these young people, because again, it's that age when music starts to take on an importance, and it's just natural that that's what you will use at that point. The next song I want to let you hear about is a person we've worked with in the Music and Mind study. She also lives in an interface area, and her mum died when she was 9 years of age. Mum died with something associated with an injury sustained as a result of the Troubles. So even after all these years, people living with conditions, it can still have a negative impact. Paula was 15 years of age and had been presenting to the local child and adolescent mental health services because she had started to become very socially withdrawn, had begun to self-harm, was very aggressive towards her dad. Their whole relationship had actually broken down, and she was really low mood and also was being bullied at school. And in the first 4 sessions, the therapist said there was absolutely no trust, no connection with Paula. There was no sense of how are we actually going to click and to move this forward. However, Paula announced herself, I think I'd like to write a song. And so she wrote a song. She allowed the therapist to help in terms of offering the different musical themes that she might use as her framework, but she was also quite emotional during the sessions as well, because all about, as she explored the difficulties she was having in her relationship with her father, and she composed this song. Now, I'm very mindful of the time, so I'll let you hear part of it. Is it all right? Thank you. We'll let you hear part of Paula's song and then move on. So the song is My Emotional Song. I think it's very noticeable when even she sings the word mum, her voice drops right down, and that's nearly, and you can hear the pain and the emotion in her song. And it is a difficult process for the children and the young people we're working with to engage in. But I think when you look at her third verse, sometimes I should think more positive, like my music and friends, to make me look forward instead of looking back. I want to be an artist making lots of music and maybe buy a new guitar. And I think that's the important thing about this whole process, is that while we look back and we deal with the awful things that have impacted, we also need to look forward, and we need as music therapists to enable the children to actually look forward and to move forward. But you know, the children whose songs you've heard live in homes where there is domestic violence, where there is drug and alcohol abuse. But you know, that's not just Northern Ireland. That can be anywhere in the world, and that doesn't even just have to be in a post-conflict society. That can be our society. And particularly as recession across the world hits and poverty increases, these things are actually going to increase as well. So we need to be very aware that where there is stress and trauma, that we actually have, provide a space. As Leach observed, we will carry the past with us into the future. Hurt and angry children without attention and respect grow up into embittered adults. And we have a very flexible and creative medium here at our disposal, which in Northern Ireland certainly can stop the cycle continuing. But now that we have a wee bit more time, and I don't want to at all to be, oh gosh, they're so depressing in Northern Ireland, because when you see us on the TV, you go, God, they're at it again. And sometimes we are positive. Barack Obama visited us last week, prior to the G8 meeting in Fermanagh, and he actually spoke to 1,500 children and young people in one of our concert halls. And he said, ultimately, peace is not just about politics, it's about attitudes. And he went on to say, it's about a sense of empathy, It's about breaking down the divisions we create for ourselves in our minds that don't exist in any objective reality. And I think that's a very powerful thing, that we hold so much in our minds sometimes, but actually, really, they're not the big bad demons that we sometimes build things up to be. So the final song I'd like to share with you was created during one of our summer programmes. And it was actually as we worked with a group of children and young people in Omagh, which in 1998, completely out of the blue, when thought we were in a peace process, we saw one of the largest single losses of life that Northern Ireland in one day that we had done. So it was sadly 28 people, and one unborn child died, and 220 people were physically injured. Now, this is a really small rural community where this occurred, so the impact was very, very strong. And again, when you think you're in a society which is safe, that you can start going out shopping on a Saturday and you don't have to worry about where you park or what you do, this was quite a significant shock to our society again. However, Omagh is a really resilient community, and they have done wonderful work. One of the centres, the Tara Centre, has done wonderful work bringing children together from across the community, engaging in various creative mediums, and of course, luckily, they engaged in music and invited our therapists to come in and work with the children for a week. And they created a song. They were talking about what made them happy. And they created this song, and which I think it shows, despite the very bleak things that happen in life, there are things which are shared by us all, and there's always hope, and there's happiness. So I hope the happiness vibe continues through yourselves for the rest of today. But thank you very much, and I hope you've enjoyed listening to the voices of the children.